A dramatic, slow-motion shot of a modern professional standing in front of a boardroom. All eyes are on them. We hear the faint, muffled sound of a racing heartbeat. Their mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Narrator, that feeling. The dry mouth. The thumping in your chest. The knowledge that the next 5 minutes could make or break your project, your promotion, your entire idea. We've all been there. The scene instantly crossfades to a vast, sun-drenched hillside in ancient Greece. Thousands of men in simple tunics are gathered, shouting and gesturing. The camera pushes through the crowd towards a single stone platform, the bema. Narrator, but what if it wasn't just your project on the line? What if it was the fate of your entire city? The decision to go to war, or to sue for peace? What if you had to persuade an audience, not of 12 colleagues, but of 6,000 of your fellow citizens, with nothing but the power of your voice? Narrator, welcome to the Pnyx, the assembly hill of 5th century BC Athens. This was the beating heart of the world's first democracy. And it wasn't just a political system, it was a radical, terrifying, and brilliant experiment in human communication. An entire society built on one foundational belief: your argument mattered more than your birthright. And your ability to articulate it was everything. Quick, dynamic cuts showing modern arenas of public speaking. A lawyer giving a closing argument. A startup founder pitching to investors. A community activist rallying a crowd with a megaphone. A scientist presenting research at a conference. Narrator, today, we treat public speaking as a specialized skill. A source of anxiety we try to manage. For the ancient Athenians, it was the ultimate survival tool. It was the art that could turn a stonemason into a statesman, sentence a philosopher to death, or launch a naval fleet that would change the course of Western civilization.
Persuasion wasn't a soft skill. It was power. Narrator, they didn't just allow free speech. They engineered their society to depend on it. They had isagoria, the equal right of every citizen, rich or poor, to take this very stage and be heard. And they cherished parrhesia, the duty to speak frankly and truthfully, even when it was dangerous.
But they knew a secret that we've started to forget. A right is meaningless without the skill to use it effectively. The shot returns to the modern world. A young person sits at their desk, looking overwhelmed by emails, notifications, and the sheer noise of online discourse. They look up, determined. Narrator, so, what can we, in our world of 280-character arguments and endless Zoom calls, learn from these ancient masters of rhetoric? How did they build trust with a skeptical crowd in minutes? How did they structure a speech to be logical, emotional, and unforgettable? And most importantly, how can their 500-year-old secrets help you find your own powerful, persuasive, and authentic voice right now? Forget what you remember from history class. Because today, we are rating the ancient world for the most effective communication tools ever devised. This is Athenian democracy and the art of persuasion for the modern world. Narrator, so how did they do it? How did an ordinary Athenian, a potter, a farmer, a soldier, transform a chaotic mob into a deliberative body? They didn't have focus groups or slide decks. They had a mental model. A framework for persuasion so powerful, it remains the foundation of effective communication to this day. It was codified by this man, Aristotle, and it was built on 3 pillars. Narrator, first, ethos.
Your character. Your credibility. Before anyone listens to what you're saying, they decide if they should listen to you. Cut 2. A modern courtroom.
A young, nervous lawyer is addressing the jury. She seems unsure. Narrator, it's not about your title or your resume. For the Athenians, ethos was built on shared experience. Have you fought for the city? Do you understand our struggles? Are you one of us? Lawyer, like many of you, I grew up in this town. My father worked at the old mill on the river. I know what it means to fight for a family's good name. Narrator, ethos is the foundation. It's the answer to the silent question in every listener's mind. Why should I trust you? You build it not by declaring your authority, but by demonstrating your understanding. Narrator, next, pathos.
Emotion. The Athenians knew that logic alone rarely moves people to action. You have to make them feel something. Athenian speaker, imagine the smoke rising from your homes.
Imagine Spartan shields at the gates where your children play. Narrator Pathos isn't about cheap manipulation. It's about translating abstract ideas, budgets, strategies, threats into human terms. It's about telling a story that makes the listener the main character. Narrator data makes people think. Emotion makes them act. On the other, a brain. Ethos is the base it all rests on. Narrator finally. Logos, the logic of your argument. This was the rational core. Is your plan sound? Does it make sense? But for the Athenians, logic wasn't about complex jargon or overwhelming data. It was about clarity. They used simple analogies, clear cause and effect, and public first principles. Cut to a modern city council meeting. A citizen is arguing against a complex zoning proposal. Instead of citing obscure regulations, she holds up two simple, hand-drawn maps. Citizen, this is our neighborhood now. And this is what it will look like with a 4-lane road running through our park. It's that simple. Narrator ethos, pathos, logos, character, emotion, logic. They aren't a checklist, they are a braid. Woven together, they create an argument that is not only heard, but felt, not only understood, but believed. We see a montage of the Athenian speaker, the lawyer, the fundraiser, and the citizen, all reaching the successful climax of their speeches.
The crowd roars its approval. The jury nods. The donors raise their paddles. The council members look convinced. Narrator, but knowing what to say is only half the battle. The Athenians also mastered how to say it. They understood something that our endless stream of information has made us forget. Structure is freedom.
A clear path is a persuasive path. Narrator, they saw a great speech not as a torrent of words, but as a piece of architecture, with a deliberate, 5-part blueprint.
A blueprint you can use today. Narrator Part 1. The Introduction. Poimian. Don't waste time.
Grab their attention and build common ground immediately. TED speaker, we will all, at some point in our lives, face an impossible choice.
Narrator Part 2. The Narrative. Diegesis. Lay out the facts of the situation calmly and clearly. Establish the shared reality before you begin your argument.
Project manager, okay, everyone. We have the final client feedback. The deadline is still Friday, and we are currently 15% over budget.
Those are the facts. Narrator Part 3. The Argument. Antagon. This is your case. Present your points, one by one, supported by your best evidence, your logos. Narrator, but this is where the Athenians used a secret weapon. Part 4. The Refutation. Antagon. The master persuader doesn't wait for objections.
They raise them themselves. Pericles, I know what some of you are thinking, that this course of action is too risky, that the cost is too high. You are right to be cautious. But let me tell you what is even riskier. Narrator, by anticipating and answering your audience's doubts, you don't just defeat their argument, you absorb it.
You show you understand their fears. You build unbreakable trust. Narrator, and finally, Part 5, the conclusion. Epilogos. The grand finale. Summarize your strongest point and end with a powerful call to action that ignites their emotions. Don't just tell them what to think. Tell them what to do.
The scene returns to the young person at their desk from the beginning. They are now sketching out a presentation, using the 5-part structure as a guide. They look focused, confident. Narrator, this wasn't just a formula. It was a technology for clarity. A way to organize your thoughts so that your ideas could land with maximum impact. But even with the perfect argument and the perfect structure, the Athenians faced one more hurdle. One we know all too well, a limited attention span. How did they keep 6,000 people engaged under the hot Greek sun? They learned to master the oldest tool of all, delivery. The scene opens on a vast, windswept coastline. A lone figure, Demosthenes, is shouting, his voice barely audible over the crashing waves. He stumbles over his words, his shoulders slumped in frustration. Narrator, this is Demosthenes, by all accounts, one of the greatest orators who ever lived. But he wasn't born that way. His first attempts on the Pnyx were a disaster. He had a weak voice, a speech impediment, and a nervous twitch. He was laughed off the stage. Narrator, but he understood a brutal truth. A brilliant idea, poorly delivered, is a dead idea, so he trained. A montage of Demosthenes' almost maniacal training regimen. He shaves half his head so he's too embarrassed to go outside. He practices speaking with pebbles in his mouth to force clear enunciation. He recites speeches while running up a hill to strengthen his breath. Narrator, he shouted over the ocean to build his volume. He practiced in front of a mirror to control his gestures. He didn't just write his speeches, he drilled them into his body. He was forging his delivery into a weapon. Because he knew that on the Pnyx, your voice was your instrument. Narrator, we've forgotten this. We rely on microphones and slides, and we let our primary instrument, our own voice, fall flat. The Athenians had no amplification. They used pitch, pace, and power to convey meaning, a rising intonation to build excitement, a sudden drop to a whisper to draw the entire crowd in, a strategic pause to let a powerful idea land with the force of a hammer blow. Activists, they tell us this project is a done deal. They tell us we don't have a choice. But I look around this room and I see a choice. Narrator, silence isn't empty space. It's verbal punctuation. It gives your words weight and your listeners time to think. Cut to an Athenian speaker, using broad, deliberate gestures. He isn't flailing, each movement has a purpose. He points to the sky. He opens his hands in a gesture of honesty. He clenches a fist to show resolve. Narrator, and it wasn't just the voice.
They mastered chironomia, the art of gesture. In an audience of thousands, your body is part of your argument. It's the difference between a talking head and a full-bodied communicator.
Today, we stand behind podiums, clutching a clicker, minimizing our presence. The Athenians owned the stage. Every gesture was a visual aid. The shot returns to Demosthenes on the beach, but now he is transformed. His voice is a roar that rivals the waves. His posture is powerful, his gestures sharp. Narrator delivery is the engine that drives your message home. It's what turns a script into a performance, and an audience into believers. But even with a perfect argument, a flawless structure, and a powerful delivery, the greatest Athenian orators had one more set of tools. Tools for making the complex simple, and making the simple unforgettable. The scene shifts to an animation. A single drop of ink falls into clear water. It spreads out, coloring everything. Narrator first, the power of analogy. The human brain is a connection machine. It learns by comparing something new to something it already understands. The Athenians were masters of this. Narrator, he didn't just present a budget. He didn't list statistics about timber and manpower. He gave them a single, powerful image. Pericles, our city, is a ship of state, and all of us are its crew. The sea around us is filled with rivals and storms. We can stay in the harbor, safe but slowly rotting away, or we can maintain the finest fleet in the world, and be masters of our own destiny. Narrator, a metaphor isn't a decoration. It's a vehicle for understanding. It takes a complex policy and makes it a simple, emotional choice. It's the fastest way to get an idea out of your head and into someone else's. Narrator, the final tool, was a solution to a problem we rarely face: memory. Athenian orators couldn't use notes or teleprompters. They had to internalize hours of argument. How? They didn't just memorize words, they organized them in space. Narrator, they used a technique called the method of loci, or the memory palace. They would take a familiar building in their mind, like this temple, and place each part of their speech at a different location. The introduction at the entrance, the first argument by the great statue of Athena, the refutation at the sacrificial altar. Narrator, to deliver the speech, they simply had to walk the familiar path in their mind, collecting their thoughts from each location. This didn't just aid recall, it forced a deeper understanding. It transformed them from people reading a script to guides leading an audience on a journey. We see a modern scientist nervously clicking through a dense PowerPoint slide. Then we cut to another scientist. No slides, speaking directly to the audience, walking them through her discovery, as if telling a story. The difference in engagement is stark. Narrator, it's the difference between reciting information and truly inhabiting your ideas. The scenes begin to flash by. A summary of everything we've learned, the Pnyx, the 3 columns of Ethos, Pathos, Logos, the 5-part blueprint, Demosthenes on the shore, the ship of state, the memory palace. They all converge and dissolve. We are back where we started. The modern professional standing in front of the boardroom. The slow motion, the muffled heartbeat. But this time, something is different. A look of clarity crosses their face. The slow motion stops. The sound snaps into focus. Narrator, Ethos, Pathos, Logos. A clear structure. A powerful delivery. These aren't dusty historical artifacts. They are a timeless toolkit for human connection. They are the way you turn anxiety into authority. The professional takes a breath. They don't lead with data. They lead with connection. Professional, I know what we're all thinking. This seems impossible. I felt that way too. But let me tell you a short story about why I believe this is the most important opportunity we've ever had. Narrator, the world has changed in 500 years. Our technology is unrecognizable. But the human mind, the way we are moved, the way we are persuaded, the way we connect with a powerful idea, clearly expressed, that hasn't changed at all. The ancient Athenians built their entire world on the belief that a single, well-reasoned, passionate voice could change everything. And it still can. The stage is yours. What will you say? The scene opens on the Pnyx, but the mood has shifted. The crowd is not just listening, they are an active, roaring beast. We see a speaker falter as a heckler from the crowd shouts something derisive. The speaker loses his train of thought, stammering. Narrator, but the Athenians knew another truth we try to ignore. Communication is never a one-way street. The audience isn't a passive receptacle for your brilliance. They have questions. They have doubts. They have objections. And in Athens, they had no problem shouting them. Executive, well, as I stated in the third quarter projections, the data clearly indicates. Angry resident, the data doesn't live next to your proposed chemical plant. Answer the question. Narrator, a presentation is a monologue. Persuasion is a dialogue, even if only one person is speaking. The great Athenian orators didn't just broadcast their message, they anticipated the conversation.
They treated every speech as a Q&A session, with the cues built directly into their argument. We see the Athenian speaker again. But this is a different one, poised and experienced.
He hears the heckler shout, pauses, and then turns directly towards him. Experienced speaker, my friend over there, shouts that my plan is for the rich. He's right to worry. The powerful have always sought to protect their own interests. That is why my plan does not rely on their generosity. It relies on something stronger, our laws, which we all share. Narrator, don't fear the tough questions. Welcome them. Acknowledge the objection. Validate the concern. And then bridge back to your core message. You're not just winning an argument, you're winning an audience. One mind at a time. Narrator, but this toolkit, Ethos, Pathos, Logos, is morally neutral. A hammer can be used to build a house or to break it down. And the Athenians learned, to their eternal sorrow, that the power to persuade can be the power to destroy. Alcibiades, why should Athens, the greatest city in the world, be content with what we have? The gods have put the riches of Sicily within our grasp. Glory awaits you. Wealth awaits you. To hesitate now is not caution, it is cowardice. Narrator, this was the Sicilian expedition, the greatest military disaster in Athenian history, launched by one of the most persuasive and most reckless speeches ever given. It was a masterclass in pathos, completely untethered from logos. It appealed to their greed and their pride, not their reason. Cut to a montage of modern manipulative persuasion. A slick online ad promising instant wealth, a fear-mongering political attack ad, a social media influencer promoting a dangerous health trend. Narrator, the demagogue has not disappeared. They have just changed their platform. They flatter our biases, stoke our fears, and offer simple answers to complex problems. And the only defense against bad persuasion is better listening. The Athenians taught the speaker to be responsible, but they also taught the audience to be critical. To ask, is this argument based on evidence, or just emotion? Does the speaker's character, their ethos, truly align with their words? Are they trying to unite us, or divide us? The scene shifts to a quiet, dusty office. An ordinary Athenian citizen, a baker, is nervously rehearsing a speech from a scroll. Another man, a professional speechwriter or logographos, watches him patiently. Narrator, this leads to the final, most human secret of Athenian persuasion. Not everyone was a Pericles or a Demosthenes. What about the average citizen, the baker or the potter, who had to defend his property in court or propose a new law for the marketplace?
Narrator, they hired a logographos, a professional writer who wouldn't just write a speech, but would interview the client for hours, learning his mannerisms, his vocabulary, his way of thinking, in order to craft an argument that was not only powerful, but authentic to him.
Logographos. No. You wouldn't say it like that. Too fancy. Tell them like you told me. About the cracked pot. About how the water leaked out. Use your own words. Coach, okay. Cut. Let's lose the prompter. What's the one thing you really, truly want every employee to feel when you're done? Forget the corporate speak. Just tell me, CEO, honestly. I want them to know I have their back. That I'm terrified, but also incredibly excited, and that we can only do this if we trust each other. Coach, good. Now, go out there and say that. Narrator, authenticity isn't about improvising. It's about having the courage to communicate your true convictions in your own voice. And sometimes, it takes practice, preparation, and even a little help to find it. The scene fades to the starkest image yet. An old, stone-faced Socrates is addressing the 501 citizens of his jury. There is no stagecraft, no soaring rhetoric. Just a man speaking plainly. Narrator, in the end, what is the purpose of all these tools? To win at any cost, or to serve a higher purpose? The ultimate Athenian lesson comes not from a statesman, but from the philosopher who was condemned to death by their democracy. Socrates could have saved himself. He could have used pathos, begged for his life, appealed to their pity. His friends begged him to. Instead, he chose a different path. Socrates, and so, men of Athens, I am not going to argue for my own sake, as you might think, but for yours, that you may not sin against the God by condemning me.
For if you kill me, you will not easily find another like me. Narrator, he chose parrhesia, frank, dangerous truth, over persuasion. He believed the purpose of speech wasn't to win a debate, but to find the truth.
He lost the vote, but he won the argument for history. A final, sweeping shot of the modern world. People engaged in every form of communication, a tense family dinner, a lively city council debate, a brainstorming session in a startup, an online community arguing passionately. The visuals are not of famous orators, but of everyday people, trying to be heard, trying to connect. Narrator, we may no longer gather on a single hillside. Our Pnyx is the meeting room, the courtroom, the dinner table, the internet. It is anywhere human beings come together to make decisions, big and small. The stakes are just as high. And the tools are the same. To build your credibility. To touch the heart. To make your case with clarity. To anticipate the conversation. To do it all with authenticity. And in service of a purpose beyond just winning. This is the enduring legacy of that wild, brilliant experiment in communication. They gave us more than democracy. They gave us a blueprint for how to be heard. The shot resolves on a single, modern face. It could be anyone. They are about to speak. They look not anxious, but ready. A faint smile. Narrator, your voice is a tool. Your voice is a responsibility. Your voice is power. Now, how will you use it?